I had a classmate who committed a hit and run. He killed 2 people, a rickshaw driver and his passenger. People Askreddit. Parents of children who have committed unspeakable crimes, how did you react and handle it? I worked with a man whose son robbed, tortured, and killed an old lady in her home with 2 other men. His son is the one that actually killed the lady too. He wasn't able to come to terms with it and was in denial for a while. Eventually his son was convicted and sent to prison, and he never spoke about his son again. He did have a really sweet daughter that seemed to have a good head on her shoulders. The dad turned all his attention on her and was very proud of that one he raised. Reply. That's why I have 3 kids. Hedging my bets. Not sure which one is going to prison yet though. I had a classmate who committed a hit and run. He killed 2 people, a rickshaw driver and his passenger. His father, a very rich garment factory owner, sent his son to the UK to escape the very same day, bribed the police to not put a bolo out, and sent his lawyers to discuss terms with the victim's family. One of the victim decides to press charges. The case is still ongoing, and the last time I saw my classmate's story he is partying in London. Reply. Man, fuck that guy. Honestly? Fuck his dad. He made that little shit. I think both are pieces of shit. I grew up with a pair of brothers who were involved with gangs. In our early 20s, one got out and became a cop, and one got in deeper and became a pimp. He was still invited to parties and holidays, was still included in family events. He was still loved by his family. His crimes got more and more extreme until he was finally charged with repeatedly raping one of his prostitutes. She was not yet 13, so he was charged with 4 counts of rape of a child. There was a rumor going around our friend group that the charge was not real and that the whole thing was trumped up by his baby mama. I asked the brother about it, and his exact words were, "I wish that was true." No, they have DNA. The cop brother was devastated. The pimp is now in jail for life, and the brother does not talk about him at all. Reply. At the start of your story I couldn't determine which one would be the one to go to prison. Cops don't go to prison, they get paid administrative leave. Yeah, when he said brothers I was like, ooh, which one? I mean, my brother in no way was a degenerate criminal, but he's got a ton of issues, none of which he is working on, and it causes my poor mother undue stress. The only reason I ever talk about him is because he exists. I have a brother, but I'm never the one that brings it up. Can't wait to read a 14-year-old writing fanfiction in this comment section. Reply. This is really disrespectful, as when my 7th youngest son graduated from university he spent 14 years constructing a real infinity stone which he used to ravage planets across the cosmos, leaving nothing but planets heavy with death and my heart heavy with sorrow. I don't appreciate you discrediting the stories of myself and countless others like me laden full of doubt and desperation in our souls. Sorry if this is a long one, it just happened over several decades and I want to make sure you get all the details involved. My son, the despicable bastard, decided he'd break into Tiffany's at midnight. Did he go for the vault? No, he goes for the chandelier. It's priceless. As he was taking it down, a woman catches him. She told him to stop. It's her father's business. She's Tiffany. He said no. They proceed to make love all night. In the morning, the cops come and he escaped in one of their uniforms. He tells her to meet him in Mexico, but goes to Canada. He doesn't trust her. Besides, he likes the cold. 30 years later, he gets a postcard. I have a grandson and he's the chief of police. This is where the story gets interesting. My son tells Tiffany to meet him in Paris by the Trocadero. She's been waiting for him all these years. She's never taken another lover. He doesn't care. He doesn't show up. He goes to Berlin. That's where he stashed the chandelier. So I was understandably impressed by the crime and simultaneously disappointed in how he treated Tiffany throughout all these years. I've reached out and she's heartbroken. His son doesn't want anything to do with him either. I can only hope someday we might be able to reunite as a whole Shroot family. Not the parent, but I was the grandchild. My grandpa was a pedophile and had lots of child porn on his computer. He even had pictures of me and my siblings in bathing suits, summer clothes, in his room. We were all small children in those photos, the youngest being a few months and the oldest being just about 11 or 12. When his mother, my great-grandma, found out, she tried to cover it up and get him help. When that didn't work, she gave up on him and so did most of the family. My mother was the one who busted him. My aunt is still in contact with him, but none of his other children are, especially my mom. My granny, his ex-wife, is disgusted with herself that she even married him and blames herself, but I remind her that it wasn't her fault, 'cause it wasn't. Edit for more info. He was turned in. My great-grandma, his mom, was the first to know and told literally nobody. He would go to her house and watch the videos, look at the photos, act. At his house with my granny, his wife, he hid the photos of me and my siblings. My grandmother was trying to get him into therapy and to go to church to cleanse his sins. In reality, she was letting him get away with everything. My granny had suspicions about things, but hates conflict, so she asked my mom to help her. My mom did, and found evidence in his car. She told him she needed to use it. He let her, and yeah. My mom then called the police. The police did a search and questioned my great-grandma, my granny, my mom, my aunts. And they found everything. At first, he was only on house arrest and for a while was clean. My granny divorced him BTW. But then, got caught with it again and was then arrested and taken to jail. My great-grandma gave up on him once he went to jail. TBH, if it was me, I would have given up on him the second I found out. Reply: was he ever imprisoned or turned in? Answer: yes, he is in jail now. My aunt sends him letters still. She's the only one who still is in contact with him. My mom was the one who busted him and got him sent to jail. I should have clarified that, sorry. My uncle was part of the English Hells Angels. He got 15 years for armed robbery with an Uzi. Absolutely nicest man to family you would ever know until you actually grow up and hear the real stories. Beyond insane how truly evil the man was. Reply: is used to work with an older guy who was ex-ha. He was the nicest guy ever and always brought in baked goods. Saw him get pissed at a guy once and it was an entirely different person. I seriously thought he was going to beat the guy with a torque wrench. Not a parent, but I have a sibling who is in prison for double homicide. They murdered a girl who I had gone to elementary school with and her father after a botched B&E. They also seriously injured the mother and threatened the other child. I watched my mother, who was already arguably unstable, fall victim to deep depression and severe anxiety. She now suffers from agoraphobia and has severe trust issues and few friends. She still keeps in touch with my sibling on a weekly basis. I, however, haven't spoken to them since I turned 18 and was given a choice. So to speak to how she handled it. Not well. She spent years in therapy that I personally don't think resolved much. I think she still has the mentality of that's my child, but I can't wrap my head around that. I certainly prefer to think of myself as an only child. Sorry for the vague-ish details, but I didn't want to get too specific about it. Thank you for listening to another B-Town Reddit Stories episode. Hit the subscribe button and check out our channel for more stories. Let us know your opinion about this topic in the comments.